let's play a game. How willing are you to step into a place of possibility? How willing are you to step outside of your comfort zone and choose a new habit, a new belief, a new emotion, a new thought? Because a new action? Because that is ultimately your ticket to change. And the game is, how willing are you to step into that possibility? Because that will show you your degree of resistance towards the acceptance of change. So today it is day 50 of the Mind Body Revolution. And I am here to share the progress, to share the wisdom, and we're going to talk heavily on embodiment and embodying our affirmation as truth, which is step 3. Stay tuned. So hey guys, it's Ashley from The Awakened State. So if you are new here, we have been going on a new adventure called the Mind Body Revolution Experiment. You can get the full lowdown. I will drop a link below if you need the introduction video or if you would like to join us in the Mind Body Experiment. What is basically going on is I am sharing my journey with you on how to use the mind-body connection with our goals, our manifestations, our intentions, and how we can use it as a potent process to understand embodiment work with the mind-body connection. So today it is day 50. It has been such a journey. And I just want to start by saying, I'm sure some of you have probably asked, well, why 90 days? Like, why do we have to go a full 90 days? Now, here's the thing. You don't have to go a full 90 days. But what I've noticed in the past by doing challenges for myself is sometimes I don't even hit the full breakthrough until like after day 30. And what I've noticed is really hitting on this new process of training your mind and instilling a new habit. The habit isn't even fully cultivated until about day 21 through about 28. So scientifically, we say that, habits can be formed within a 28-day period. They say exactly it's supposed to be around 21 to 28 days. But what I've noticed is it's not fully even ingrained into your nervous system yet until you've been really instilling it as a habit in your life. So the main thing I've really noticed with creating a 90-day challenge is in the first 30 days, it was really about a lot of awareness, a lot of breaking through resistance, a lot of, am I willing to accept the change? This is what's going on and this is what isn't serving me. Okay, now I know that. How can I start to change things? How can I start to do things differently? So I feel that there was a huge moment of shifting and pivoting within the 30-day, between the 30 days and the 40 days, around that time period. Whereas the first 30 days, it was about really busting through that resistance. And I think that's an interesting awareness to make, because if you are new to setting a new habit or going after a new goal or creating a project and following through on that project, we have all been there where there's so much resistance just to get started. And as I said earlier, and I think one of the first progress videos, a lot of the times what occurs from this is it's within that first week to the fourth week, we will often find the most resistance occurring because our ego is screaming at us to stay in our box of conformity and safety and comfort and our old identity. And so I feel like where I'm at with day 50 is I feel like I've met this acceptance of change. And I really want to talk about this a lot today because I think it's so powerful to witness this from like a journey standpoint. Because this is like such a unique experiment to me, because I feel like I'm able to witness how to shift a pattern, how to break a pattern, how to understand the mind-body connection in a new way, that it's not just showing me about magnetism and how to go after my habit or not my habit, my goal, but it's also showing me the process that our mind goes through to really instill a new habit and basically merge that into our identity. And so, like I said, the first 30 days, it felt like a lot of breaking through the resistance. It felt like a lot of like, what do I need to shift? What do I need to change? This clearly isn't working. How can I admit that I need change? How can I accept the pause? How can I truly realign myself with what's going on? You know, the reality is like I was doing a lot of manual things in my business that I knew I could automate, but I refused to automate because it was something different, something new. And this is like a stupid basic example, but if you think about it, if I stayed on the track of manually posting, it was eventually going to burn me out. And doing all of this manual overwork of focusing on doing things in like the systems all manually, it was really starting to drain my energy. And so the awareness of, whoa, this is not working anymore. I have a life. I have things I have to do. I have children who have homework and I have to tend to my mom this month for some reason. And like all of these things suddenly came up to be like, Ashley, get a grip. This is what needs to shift and change. So I invite you to explore that if you're doing this with me and you started the mind-body journey, is to look at what is the red flags coming up showing you what you need to shift and change. Because it's not like it won't be obvious. It will be very obvious. It will show up in resistance. It will show up in heaviness. It will show up in low contracted energy. It will show up in exhaustion, burnout, adrenal fatigue. You will see it in how you're showing up. And inevitably, like as we've been moving through, I think there's been this element of, wow, okay, now I've gotten the resistance out of my system. Now I can be in a state of accepting change, which I believe I would say around maybe when I got right around the edge of getting sick and then healing, there was kind of a huge like breakthrough moment of what I needed to change, what I really needed to really let go of. And there was a lot of almost incongruency occurring that started to clear up. And I noticed that within my own energy, because of how I was showing up in my habits, suddenly shifted around day 30. And so when I gave you the last progress video, that's when I started to really have some immense breakthroughs. So like I said, when you just get started with doing 30 days, you're establishing a habit. But beyond the habit, you have to ask yourself, well, what do I do beyond that? Like, what is the next step? So for 90 days, what I'm really exploring is like the full journey of what it takes to really integrate a habit, a new process, a new goal into your identity. So that's where we're really at. So at day 50, I'm immensely noticing just this huge theme of acceptance. And I've talked about acceptance a lot in some of my programs, but I think it's so crucial to touch on this because resistance is literally a refusal to change. It's a deflection of receiving and what you want. So you are literally deflecting the change. And this occurs because our ego wants to stay in the old identity. And this can stretch to all sorts of topics where we could apply this to career. We could apply this to ego death. We could apply this to spiritual awakening. We could apply this to a relationship. There's so many ways you can put yourself in this own kind of scenario. The reality is change doesn't occur in a vacuum. It happens through the feeling, it happens through the momentum, and most importantly, it happens in the actions we take. So it happens in the action. It does not happen on the pursuit of clearing and limited belief work and all of that crap. It happens in the action through the sustaining of the habit that you're willing to shift and change and accept change in your life. So the embodiment piece is to look at your energy from a lens of accepting change. And so the framework of the mind-body revolution is to set your intention, Detox your doubt with encouraging possibility. How willing are you to step into possibility? And third, it's to embody the affirmation as truth. Now, I'd love to talk about this because I think it's one of those missing ingredients that is not talked about enough in the manifestation community, the personal development community, the healing community. If we are not doing the things that we say we're going to do, we are cutting ourselves off from our nervous system believing us. So therefore, we will not take the action. We will not do the thing. We will stay in a point of resistance. We will refuse to change. And inevitably what occurs is we are now in a state of lack of acceptance to change. We are resisting change. So in the embodiment piece, we're stepping into accepting change. So how does this really work? Well, if you think about the mind-body connection, how the mind-body connection works is the mind links to the body creates the magnetism produces the actions, because the magnetism is pulling us into the actions we need to take. So when we link the mind with the right information, we embody that information, we now become a magnet towards the actions we need to take. The embodiment piece is crucial because it shows us that we can be writing all the affirmations for the livelong day we want. We could be affirming everything we want. We could be visualizing everything we want. But if we are not changing our habits, changing our actions, changing our beliefs, changing our feelings, and changing anything, all we're doing is giving the ego the right evidence to say, yeah, I refuse to change. And that's like the whole conversation in a nutshell, is the old identity will stay the same if you don't do anything differently. So this leads us to the same conversation over and over again. It begins with pattern interruption. It begins with, are you willing to step into possibility and do something differently? Because the embodiment is the crucial ingredient to getting you into action. The embodiment is the ingredient to create change, because it will not happen in a vacuum where you are frantically searching and frantically hunting and you're in a space where you are affirming and not doing anything different with your life. I think I'm going to create another video about incongruency. Maybe that'll be next week. So what I really want to say here is, let's talk about step 3 now. So step 3 is about embody the affirmation as truth. Okay, so we've been kind of leading into this. So day 50 was pretty much acceptance, accepting change. Now, how we apply this to embody your affirmation as truth is very simple. How willing are you to step into the possibility of embodying your truth of that affirmation? How willing are you to step into the knowingness that that affirmation does exist for you? How willing are you to believe that it exists for you? Or are you not willing? Are you in a space where you don't want to change? Are you in a space where you're refusing to change? Or are you in a space where you're constantly searching for the change? You're hunting the change, trying to figure out the change. You're constantly searching for the solution. And in this space, we're not embodying anything. We're on the hamster wheel. We're on the loop. We're looping that in our nervous system. We're saying, I want to change, I don't want to change. I want to change, I don't want to change. And what this causes, it's like the teeter-totter effect. You don't want to fully commit to change. And what naturally occurs is what I like to call the half-baked manifestation. So you sort of get it, but you don't get it. You sort of get it, but you don't get it. You sort of get it, you get it. So what naturally occurs from this is you have to step into the embodiment. Now, the embodiment, when I say embodiment, I want you to think about it like this. And I talk about this in Awaken Your Power to Manifest. It's like trying on a new pair of shoes. So when you step into something, it's like you're trying on something that's new. So it may feel weird, it may feel funky, it may even like be clunky and like hard to wear, but eventually you break those shoes in and they integrate into your identity. So when you try on an affirmation, it is not like you're doing it this way. And this is how most people manifest. They write an affirmation down and then they do nothing differently. They're like, oh, that was fun. Or they're like, oh, it didn't work. I'm going to write again and again. And I'm going to do the 555 ritual and the 369 ritual and the blah, blah, blah. And what occurs is they're not actually doing anything different with their nervous system. They're not doing anything with the mind-body connection. So nothing actually occurs. So the embodiment shows us, I'm going to put those shoes on and I'm going to walk around with them and see how it feels. And maybe I'll try a new habit. Maybe I'll try, this is a hilarious analogy. But if you think about it, it's like I'm writing the affirmations down. Okay, now I'm going to put them on and I'm going to walk around with them and I'm going to say, well, what are the beliefs I would have as I'm wearing these shoes? What are the beliefs I would have as I'm now believe that this exists for me? Well, what are the thoughts I would think if this already exists for me? Now, what are the actions I think I would take if this already exists for me? So as I'm walking around with these new shoes on, my perception starts to shift. And as it's shifting, now I'm suddenly flooded with new ideas, new concepts, new solutions, new ideas, new possibilities that I wouldn't see at all had I been on the fence of wishing and hoping and frantically searching and blah, 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 because I would be in a space where I'm fully misaligned. Now, the embodiment will show us a different conversation of reality. Because in the embodiment, we are now choosing a possibility. And in the possibility, we now can establish a new solution. So embodying the affirmation as truth is literally as simple as taking that analogy and bringing it to your life. So example. So I've been really working heavily on changing up my systems in my business. Now, if you're not familiar with systems in your business, I'm working with automation and I'm working on funnels and I'm working on getting better at scheduling because I'm like terrible at scheduling. So I've been working on that. And so at first I wasn't doing any of that, or rare. So what I started to do is I started to create affirmations around that. Then I, encouraged myself with the possibilities. And then as I encouraged myself with the possibilities, I started to find new trainings or trainings I already had that I forgot I had and stuff like that. And then what inevitably occurred from that is, how do I embody the affirmation as truth? Well, if I really did have new systems going on in my business, what would I do differently? Like, obviously, I have to stop manually posting. Obviously, I can't always manually post. I need to look at what can I do differently. Basically, I can't always, have one blog after another blog after another blog and manually keep doing that. And instead, what if I started like batching my blogs? What if I started automating more of my blogs? What if I started combining my videos and my Instagram? So I started, you can literally go to my Instagram and start to see these changes. Like, I'm not just talking up my ass here. Like, I'm starting to shift and change the systems that I am creating, and I'm noticing a huge effect on it. And I'm noticing that it's also easier for me. And I'm also noticing that it's just so much less work, which is hilarious because, you would think that it would be more work, but it's actually less work. And that's the funny thing. So what I've noticed is as I embody that affirmation, I take new actions. Now, the same thing with fitness. Like, I've been really working hard on making sure I get back into that Pilates habit. And so what I've been doing, I write affirmations about the Pilates. I encourage myself in the possibility, how can I make sure I'm consistent with my fitness? Now I know that, okay, now that I'm consistent with my fitness, what would I do differently? I try on those shoes. Okay, bring on those possibilities. If I was consistent with Pilates, how would I show up? Would I change my diet? What would I do differently? What are the things, what are the habits I could do to sustain the practice? So if you think about it like this in terms of in resistance, what do you think would occur? So in resistance, if I was not embodying something, in a state of resistance, what would happen is I would be in a place where I am fully disconnected from my body. So I would be writing the affirmations, but not doing anything differently. And more times than not, I'd probably be resisting change, and I would instead keep doing things manually. In Pilates, I would stop taking the action. I would stop showing up. So this is the difference. And you can feel it and you can see it the more you listen to your body, because the mind-body connection is always working, but the chances are is maybe you're not actually using it properly. And so the Mind-Body Revolution teaches you to really work this in a systematic way where you can start to meet your goals, where you can start to move forward on those projects, where you can start to move through your resistance. And this is a huge thing I teach in all of my programs. I believe our ability to move through our own resistance is truly the catalyst to radical shifts, radical transformation, radical healing, and most importantly, it's the method to pure potentiality and radical possibility, because you're not just creating something new like a goal or a habit, but slowly you will discover that you can apply this to manifestation with anything in your life. And you can use that with anything you desire to have. And the embodiment piece of trying on those new shoes, as silly as it may sound, is the starting catalyst to real shifts and real transformation. All right, so here we are, day 50. We are going strong, and I'm here to share the wisdom, share the training, share the insight with you. I hope you are joining me. I would love to hear your own progress posts in the Awaken Network. I would also, if you want to join us, I will definitely drop that link for you below. I would love to hear your thoughts about what I've shared and what this has come up for me, and just a behind the scenes look at, this is honestly way more unprofessional of like what my typical videos are. And I'm honestly kind of loving the non-filtered, like kind of transparent view of just seeing behind the curtain. We often see this highlight reel, and we almost have like this like copy and paste version of success, and we have this copy and paste version of healing. And the reality is it's a journey. It's completely a journey. And I think one of the things that makes the Mind Body Revolution so powerful is you get to stop and witness your own journey of pure transformation. Like, how cool and amazing is that? So if you are here joining me today, I am so, so proud of you. You are doing amazing. Keep going. Encourage yourself. You can do this. We can all bust through our own resistance in our own time, and allow yourself the courage to keep going, move through, and know that you are an amazing divine creator. And don't forget, the universe is inside of you, and you hold the power to design your life.